Good morning. My name is Joe Sullivan. Fortunate to serve as Braintree's mayor. We have the District Attorney Michael Morrissey with us this morning. DA Morrissey is going to issue a statement, and then we'll have a couple of comments from Lieutenant Ware. Lieutenant Warren. There's another one named Ware. Lieutenant Michael Warren will also make a statement on behalf of the Braintree Police Department. I want to thank you all for coming. The District Attorney Michael Morrissey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all for coming as well. Last evening, Braintree Police Department received a process from Boston Police Department requesting assistance to serve a 209A restraining order on a man believed to be staying in room 113 of the Motel 6. Braintree officers obtained a copy of his criminal history in order to ascertain if there was any special circumstances they should be aware of prior to the service. They learned that the subject, Tizaya Jordan Robinson, T-I-Z-A-Y-A, Jordan Robinson, age 25, of Boston, had a history of multiple weapons violations. In fact, they also learned that he had an active Dorchester District Court warrant for domestic assault, battery, kidnapping, and threatening to commit a crime. With that knowledge, a team of 4 uniformed Braintree police officers arrived at the Motel 6 shortly before 9 a.m. The preliminary investigation of physical evidence at the scene and relevant interviews suggested Mr. Robinson initially failed to open the door to the Braintree police. When the officers attempted to use a key to open the door, they were met with Mr. Robinson firing 2 rounds through a closed door at the police officers present, striking one of the Braintree police officers in the head area. That officer, who Lieutenant Michael Morrissey, who's to my left, will discuss shortly, remained conscious and communicating to officers as he was taken to a Boston hospital where he still remains today. The officers had to return fire into the door as they retreated to render aid and to evacuate the wounded officer. They secured the scene and additional resources. An ambulance was called in to transport the officer to the Boston hospital. Law enforcement from surrounding communities also participated, as well as various mechanical devices and other assets that were available. They attempted to reach the person numerous times, but shortly before 2 a.m., a robotic camera entered the room, at which time the officers had learned that the subject was deceased from within. Mr. Robinson has been transferred to the office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Boston. The medical examiner will provide an official cause and manner of death subsequent to the autopsy, which we expect to occur today or tomorrow. It's important for us to indicate that the initial evidence at the scene indicates that he had multiple gunshot wounds, including one wound that appeared consistent with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head area. The investigation remains ongoing. Many of you have been down to the scene. The State Police Crime Scene Services are still there. Ballistics, photos, detectives assigned to the District Attorney's Office and Braintree Police are still actively working this case and this scene. This is all the information we have at this time, but I do want to have Detective Kevin Shaver, the State Police, is here. Lieutenant Michael Warren from the Braintree Police Department will give you a little bit of an update on the police officer involved. Lieutenant Warren, thank you, sir.
A short time ago, I spoke with the officer, Officer Delaney. He's in a Boston area hospital. He does have a projectile lodged in his head. He may have to undergo surgery to have it removed. He's been with our department since 2010. He's been awarded 2 life-saving awards since he's been with our department. He's also a Marine Corps veteran and volunteers his time in the community.
So, his name is Donald Delaney, and the Braintree Police are currently in the hospital, and we anticipate some surgery sometime today. So,
what's his first name?
Donald, age 36.
Would it be possible to get a picture?
I don't know if we have one, but we'll see what we can do when the rain stops.
Do we know if the suspect was in some sort of state housing or subsidized housing, living at the motel?
No, I can tell you that he had checked in on May 4th. That's all we have at this time. That matter remains under investigation.
Mayor, is there state housing or subsidized housing at that motel?
No, there is not. It was his second evening at the hotel.
I don't know if Officer Delaney had a backup at that time.
Again, I indicate that when he came down there initially, because of information they had, 4 armed Braintree police officers, they have protocols, procedures. That's part of the ongoing investigation, but that's all we can tell you at this time.
You mentioned that one of the gunshot wounds on Mr. Robinson was consistent with self-inflicted wounds.
but do we know if any of the officers who fired through the door hit Mr. Robinson?
Well, I'm telling you that he's a victim of multiple gunshot wounds, and I am assuming that it's fair to say that one obviously is self-inflicted, so who shot him or what, that's part of the ongoing investigation. But we do indicate to you that officers did return fire in order to rescue and help Mr. Delaney, Officer Delaney, evacuate from the area.
Besides the gunfire, did he ever say anything, whether it's to the negotiators or to the officers in person?
Again, all we can say is that when they went to knock on the door, they initially were denied access. When they went to use the key, they were met with gunfire. That's all I have to say on that matter at this time.
And do you know anything about the case? Was it out of Dorchester, the kidnapping?
The kidnapping is out of Dorchester, and he obviously he's an individual who is known to the Boston police. He has a number of weapon charges, so Braintree police took precautions based upon knowledge they had. 4 of them did show up, so they felt strong enough that they had to serve the 209A order that Boston requested, the information that had been provided at the Motel 6.
What's next for the hotel, or motel rather? Is it still evacuated? I know.
Well, again, they had a lot of people who were evacuated last night here to the department, taking statements, part of the ongoing investigation, and I imagine at some point state police will release certain aspects of the hotel back to the Motel 6, and they'll go on in business.
But it is still evacuated.
Well, again, it's an active crime scene services for a portion of the hotel, so until it's fully processed, then there is some damage done that has to be corrected. So that part will be off limits until we release it back to the owners.
We have currently a police officer on scene at the motel. I did go to the motel this morning, spoke with local management, and we'll be addressing that issue over the next few days. I think our focus right now is on the police officer and on the tremendous work done by the Braintree Police Department. That's where our focus is, that's where our thoughts and prayers are, and over the next coming days we'll be addressing the issue of Motel 6.
You had mentioned last night that that motel was a concern. Any way you elaborate?
We have no comment about what happens at the motel. All we're focused on is this one event, and again, that's our focus. You can speak to the town later, but suffice to say, you've heard the mayor, he's been in contact with the ownership. That's all we have to say in the matter.
As for the officer who was injured, how many years with this department, and was this the first department he worked?
Really, he may have been prior to this with the Hull Police Department for
Part-time officer.
in Hull, and he's been employed by Braintree since 2010, and he has been decorated for a couple life-saving awards, and he's well thought of by his colleagues. Good, solid police officer, well-trained, and a Marine Corps veteran. So we, as the mayor said, our thoughts and prayers are with the family and for a speedy recovery and return to work.
He has performed on a regular basis in a very admirable way, and he's an excellent police officer.
Thank you all. I'm sorry to put you on the rain.
Please clarify real quick, there were no other injuries at this motel other than obviously the suspect and the officer?
The only injury that we are aware of the hospitalized is one officer. I'm not going to suggest that someone else may not have suffered, minor injuries. That's part of the ongoing investigation. But clearly, one officer received critical injuries, and that's the focus of our ongoing concern. And we will, in the district attorney's office, do a full report on the shooting, and as I have in the past, we'll make that available. It will take a number of months because I do have to gather all the information, wait for the medical examiner to complete his report. We will have a preliminary report from the medical examiner in a short period of time, but as many of you know, it does take a while to get the full report from the medical examiner. So when that becomes available, we make that available to the press and to the public as well.
Does Officer Delaney live here in Braintree?
I'd rather not comment exactly, where he lives, but his family obviously is with him. And that's the last questions. That's it.
Is he a
Thank you.
father?
We're not going to make any comments about the family at all.
Sir, would you say and spell the name of the deceased?
Well, the last name is Robinson, Robinson, and the first name is David will have to give me the spelling. It's T-I-Z-A-Y-A. Shazaya. T-I-Z-A-Y-A. Jordan Robinson.
Can we age again one more time?
25.
25.
Was there a dash between Jordan and Robinson?
No.
We don't expect that we'll be making any further comment today. As the need arises, we'll stay in touch with you. And thank you for
Okay.
Whenever you guys can get a photo of the officer,
Let's see if the one exists.
Okay, can I ask you if this is him?
shootout.